Today on Omni Garage, we're going to be installing the Fumoto engine oil drain valve. So this is the F105, and if you haven't seen our last video, we installed the F105S, so that's very similar to this one here, except coming out of here, you've got a short nipple which helps you to drain it really accurately into a bucket or a container. So what we'll do, we'll jack up the car, we will take the tray off that covers the filter and the drain valve, and we'll have a look at what we need to do to get this drain valve installed. So when you're jacking your car up, make sure that you're really safety conscious. So we're going to use the trolley jack it up, pop jack stands on all four corners, but we're also going to keep the trolley jack under here as an extra element of safety. Make sure you've got your handbrake on or your e-brake on, and potentially put something behind your rear wheels as well, just to make sure there's no roll movement at all. Line this up and you're should be good to go. And just check it before we lift too high. We're lined up nicely. So you're popping your jack stands. You've got the two rails that run the length of the car. You're just jacking high enough and just slotting those in. So when we drop the car down, it's going to sit nicely on those. So on the back of the car here, your jack point is on the rear diff. So what we're going to do is just come directly from the back of the car. You can pretty much line it up under your fog light to make sure you got your lining right here. And then we just want to make sure we've got that placed nicely so it's squared out. That way have it slip. Right, so the first thing we want to do under here is remove this tray so we've got nice easy access to our drain plug and also our oil filter. So we've got a couple of clips that we need to remove, and we've also got some little nuts which we're going to remove. This is a 12mm on the socket here, so it's actually already really loose. We're at the point where that one feels like it might break coming out, so we might use that and we'll just slip it around. So we'll come to the front and remove the last couple of So not 100% sure of the oil filter placement on the STi here. We know where the drain plug is, and we probably could get away if we had that Fumoto valve on there just draining it. But I'm not too sure where exactly under here we'll have the placement for the oil filter. It's just best to take this off and try and keep it nice and easy. Actually, looking at this, we do have a few clips further around the side that we're going to need to take off in order to get this to slide out nicely. So what we just found is this tray actually comes all the way up inside the wheel arches here. So you've got one clip at the top, and then you've got one a little bit further down, and then one just underneath the main tray. Okay, so we've removed all of those. We've got a total of 2 clips at the back here. We have 3 clips going up each wheel arch, so we've got 6 in total, and then we've got 3 bolts as well. So it takes a few minutes. It really is a pain to try and get up on those wheel arches. This is something that shouldn't take too long to get these out. It's just going to be putting this tray back on that's going to be a bit of a nuisance. And sliding it out, given it's so arched to go up inside. You have to come out and get it from the outside. And I know some companies actually make really nice aluminium ones of these that actually have compartments that you can take out to get really clear access to your drain plug and your filter. So that's something that's probably on the Omni Garage shopping list for maybe later in 2020. So we're all ready to take our oil drain plug out and replace it with a Fumoto valve. And we've got a little bit of a dilemma as well with the oil filter, but we'll get to that one shortly once we haggle with this here. So we're using a 17mm on here. We'll need to switch to the torque wrench.
There we go.
There we go. So we've broken the seal.
So this is on there really tight, so hopefully once we put our Fumoto oil drain plug on there, we won't have to be mucking around with undoing this bolt and actually running the risk of damaging our oil pan, because we'll have the tap on there, so we'll be able to open and close the tap, which makes sense, and I think it's probably a real good, safer option in doing this. So
definitely, it means that we're not going to have to try and get hands out of the way quickly either, because you can access the valve from the top, flick it, your hands are right out of the way. What we've done before we've started to take this off is we've run the car for about 10 minutes just to get the oil up to temp, which helps with the viscosity to get it to run out a bit easier.
There we are. So that was a lot cleaner than the last time, and we've still managed to make a mess. So once this plugs on, we won't have any more of this mess. And there we are, there's the oil draining out. How hot was that oil?
Oh, it was it's reasonably warm. I probably wouldn't want to run the engine for much longer than, I mean, we probably did what, 5 to 6 minutes.
Yeah. You
probably could do up to 10, but we left it. We didn't leave it too long in between coming down here to get this out.
So the car on the gauge said that it was up, the coolant levels were up to temp, and so that's when we turned the car off. So I suppose if you get to temp, the oil's not going to be too hot, not going to burn you, and which is slightly less than probably the 10 minutes, or it's around about, you know.
So what we'll do, we'll let this run for a minute, we'll just clean up the mess that we've made on the concrete here, get that tidy, and then we'll come back to the oil filter and explain our dilemma that we've got there. Just cleaning up the plug area here a little bit. This is going to keep running for hours and hours. You just want to clean it up the best that you can before you start to install this, but there's really, with that constant flow coming through, there's not a whole lot that you can do. So we've got the Fumoto valve here set up with the blue washer on there, and then all we're going to do is carefully thread this on. We don't want to over tighten this, so that's the key. So we're just going to start really slow on here. Make sure you get it seated right. There we go. We don't want to cross thread this. And so we are going hand tight on this, pretty much as tight as we can with our hand. And then we are on the body of it, so not on the bit that sticks out here, but actually on the body. We want to turn it an extra 1/8 of a turn. So that's as tight as I can go via hand. We've hand tightened this valve here, and we've used some APC to clean up around the area just so we don't have anything dripping, especially when this heats up again. So the instructions are to hand tighten this, and I'd probably say this is almost a little bit more than hand tighten because I have pushed on it with quite a bit of force. So you want to go another 1/8 of a turn. And you want to make sure when they're saying to turn it on the body, they're saying turn it on here, this bit. Some of the ones that have the short nipples on them, you can actually get this on here. Don't do that. That's highly advised against. So make sure you're doing it on the body. We want to go about an 1/8 of a turn. I'm going to go slightly short thereof. So I'm looking, an 1/8 will probably be bringing it into line with my finger here, but I'm not going to go quite that far. Be pretty happy with that. So basically what we need to do now, this is obviously in the closed position, is to put the Fumoto, there's a little clip that you can put on here which holds the lever in place to make sure that nothing can hit that and dislodge it while you're driving. So we'll attach that and then we can move over to the filter. Okay, so we're putting the clip on now. So you want Fumoto to be facing down, because this little portion here is pushing up on the lever to make sure that it can't be twisted. So all you do is you push this up, and this here, it just slides. Slides in there. So then that can't be twisted without that cap first having to come off. So the install of that is all done. We can move to the oil filter now, take that off, replace it, and then we're ready to fill it back up with oil. So there's not a whole lot of room in here to get this seated properly, so it's kind of half on, half off. But it's the only way.
It untwists for quite a while, so keep untwisting. Always going to run down the filter, and then you've got to keep twisting, keep twisting, because that bolt in there is quite long. So if this oil was hot, you're probably going to burn your hand, so you want to make sure it's not too hot because it's just going to run for ages.
Yeah, and this oil is still really warm, and we're probably a solid 15-20 minutes from having turned the car off, if not longer than that. I think you do want to wait a wee while before you take your filter out.
And as you can see, it's taking quite a lot of turns to remove this, so just be a bit cautious when you're doing this stage.
And it might come as a bit of a surprise when it does come out, but you don't want to drop it, because that will make a mess splashing in the pan there. You can just sit that there nicely and let that drain for a wee bit. What we'll do once it's finished draining, we'll pull this filter out and we'll show you what the differences are between what the most recent dealership service put on the STi versus what we've actually been sent by Possum Bourne in order to replace this. This is the filter we've just taken off. So this is the genuine Subaru part ending in A170. Now, from doing reading and obviously ordering online, the part that you use, the OEM filter for the 2019 STi is A100. So this has been sent to us from Possum Bourne Motorsport here in New Zealand. Now, when we took the cover off and saw this filter here, you can obviously see by just taking a quick look at them, there is a huge difference in the size, particularly top down. It's way bigger, the 170 that's been on the vehicle. So doing some research, everywhere online suggested that you wanted the model ending A100 for this vehicle. There was nothing that alluded to the 170 being used for the STi. What I think we found here is the 170 should be on the same model year or similar model year WRX. So any of the 2 litre models, whereas the STi uses this variant here, which is a bit smaller. So when you turn these over, you can actually see where we're going to be all right here and why the 170 has worked on the STi when it's only meant for the WRX. The inside piece of this is pretty much identical. What you find on the 170 is the casing is just wider. So you've got your same internals from first look, just this casing here. But interesting to know now, this has been on for probably about 8,000 to 9,000 kilometers, and we've had no issues, no leaking. So you probably could use these on your STi, but if you're following what you're meant to use, you want this one here. Okay, so we're at the getting close to the finishing line here. So what we're going to do is we're filling today using the Motul 5W40. So I've done a lot of research on oil, and this seems to be the gold standard for at least a 5W40 variant. I know that these cars stock come with a 5W30, but we're going for this 8100 XS by Motul. What we're going to do is dip our finger into here, and we're just going to apply a bit around the outer edge of the oil filter before we go and screw that in. I have seen on some videos people actually fill directly into these. We're not going to do that. We know that this car takes 4.3 litres for a full replacement with the oil filter coming off as well. So we'll just make sure we compensate for that at the top. We just want to rub some around there. So we've got that all primed, ready to go. Again, we just want to take our time here, make sure it threads nicely. And it's a lot of threading to get it on. And this is just a hand tighten, so it's a lot by feel. There we go, all seated. We lost a little bit. Not enough to be too concerned about. Engine oil's all filled up, so what we're going to do is just give it a bit of a test, make sure this drain valve is working as it should. We'll take the little clip off. Looking at this way. There you go, and that'll be your second oil change. There you have it. So that's the install of the Fumoto drain plug on the 2019 STi. This is the second drain plug that we've installed. We've also installed one of these, a slightly different variant on the 2007 WRX. So if you're interested in checking that out, have a look at the link up in the corner here.
So our huge thanks to Fumoto for sending out the oil drain plugs for the two Subarus. If you're interested in checking out any of the drain plugs and having a look at what you can get for your vehicle, you can find them at FumotoUSA.com. Otherwise, have a look in the description below, you've got the links there. Thank you so much for watching the video. Make sure you hit subscribe to stay tuned because we've got heaps more content like this to come.